and gentlemen, I'm actually driving the 918 now. You might remember Elizabeth and Andrew from my New York trip, which was a lovely little trip. And I did some glamour shots of the 918. I met them at SEMA, they were super kind, and I went up and filmed the car. Now, a few people were like, well, David, why didn't you review it? Why didn't you drive it? But it was the situation, especially. It was -4-degree wind chill, so for being somebody who's never driven it before, we all agreed warm weather is better. So now we're here for the Pittsburgh Grand Prix, and I'm driving in electric mode, completely silent. The first thing you notice about electric mode is you have to really compress the brake, because if you don't, you're not gonna brake. But you don't have a lot of feedback while you're in electric mode. Another thing you notice when you get in the car is you're very much tucked in. Like, it wraps around you and you're like at one with the car, it feels like. Full electric. That's so weird. It's like driving an expensive golf cart. So there's 4 different modes, and each mode drastically changes. It's one of the only cars out there, in my opinion, that when you do change the mode, you physically feel it. You really sense it. So we're gonna pull onto the road. Alright. So, if you don't know, if you live under a rock and you don't know anything about the 918, the Porsche 918 Spyder is a very special car. Why is it so special? Well, it has a 4.6 liter high revving V8, and along with that you have 2 electric motors, one on each axle. So when you have the 4.6 liter V8, it revs to 8,500 RPM, and at that 8,500 RPM you have 608 horsepower by itself. But that's not all. Like a Corning infomercial, there's more. So when you have more, you have the 2 electric motors, which adds another 279 horsepower. So all in all, you have 880 something horsepower, 940 foot-pounds of torque. In electric mode, it's just so odd because all you hear is the wind noise, really. And I mean, electric cars are really starting to get their stride on now. You have the Teslas and everything else. But on this, it's rumored, it hasn't really been confirmed. I know Drive Network tried to drive the 918 only on electric mode for 12 miles, and it kind of didn't sort of make it. But Elizabeth and Andrew claim that it can go farther. So right now we're in hybrid mode, and to change mode in the 918, it's incredibly simple. All it is a knob on the steering wheel, and you crank it. There's no mumbo jumbo with a crazy screen where you have to do 10 different steps just to go to a different mode. So with that, it depends on the revs. So if you start slowing down or anything like that, it goes back to E mode. But if you're on the highway, it has the kind of combined force. So we're gonna go into sport mode, and there's the combustion motor. Okay. Wow, that was incredibly smooth. Not that I'm super surprised because of the engineering by Porsche, but it's really kind of laid back when you just kind of get on it at that RPM. Wow, like, you know, you get in the 918, in the back of your head, the first thing you go is, this is a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money to have this car. You have the big 3 right now, the LaFerrari, the P1, and this. But as soon as you start driving it, you feel more comfortable. It's really not that difficult to cruise around it and around town. It's very simple. Andrew and Elizabeth took the 918 to Circuit of the Americas, and even in electric mode, it still had the fastest lap. Just take that in for a second. This is something where 10 years ago, anything electric was a joke. You couldn't go anywhere. There was no recharge stations. And now you you have pretty much the 3 fastest cars in the world around a track. Just driving this, it still hasn't really hit me yet what I'm in, but I think later in the day I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I just drove a 918. It's so interesting, you know, as a younger guy, you know, back when this car was a concept at Geneva and it was on all these video games and all these different things, and you're like, wow, they're never gonna make that. There's no way it would make too much sense for them to make it because it's that cool. You do have to angle it over bumps, just like a stance car, and you know, this guy never drives stuff like this. Pretty ironic that the first exotic on the channel is a Porsche 918. It's such a big dog, and that means so much to me because Andrew and Elizabeth were kind enough to let me drive this monster. And I kind of can't talk right now. It's too good. The sound is so different too. Like you drive, you know, if you ride it on 911 or something like that, it has a very signature Porsche sound, but this is like the combined forces of like all the different car cultures into one motor. So when it comes to the interior of the 918, wow, this is really hard to talk. When it comes to the 918, it is straight up race car. You have a complete carbon fiber monocog that surrounds you. When you open the door, you see it, and it's just beautiful carbon fiber. I remember the first time I got in it, it's like an art to get in this car because you have to like kind of stick your butt a certain way. It's like you need a little cartoon direction. So like you gotta take a stick figure, turn sideways parallel, and then just fall in. That's like the best way to put it. But when you get in it, you know, you think you're gonna be really intimidated. But you're behind the wheel and you're just like, oh, I got this, it's fine. The rear end of this car too is just so stupid aggressive. It's so gnarly. The front is a little bit more subtle, but I love the headlights, how they have like the 4 LED kind of look to them. I think I noticed when you're in E mode, the RPM gauge is just so weird. You know, it's basically at 0. So you're cruising around, you're going at speed, and if you're a car guy, you're used to seeing your RPM move. It's not like you're in a broken car or something where the tach doesn't work. That's kind of the vibe you get. But it's just doing its thing. It's an electric motor. All right, so we're gonna go back into hybrid mode. We're gonna see the switch between electric and combustion. So it relies off the revs. It analyzes the revs. So we're just kind of cruising at 2,000 RPM. Okay. Yeah, it shifts extremely early. All about that gas saving though. This car has 900 foot-pounds of torque, 940 foot-pounds of torque, and it gets 36 miles to the gallon. What? It's such a symphony. Like, there's so many different things going on. You know, with both electric motors on each axle, it gives you such an advantage. It's all-wheel drive, and it's one of the cars where you can't let out of it. If you let out of it, you're gonna start understeering or something terrible along those lines. So if you start feeling like the point of no return, you just get in it. You put it to the floor. But that was pretty much a given, probably. I'm just gonna, yeah, let's just get that out of the way. The brakes, like I just mentioned, they're really good, obviously. I mean, give me a break. But second, they regenerate the electricity. And you see the regenerative braking happening because on the gauge it has a green little light and it just increases as you're braking. See how people did fast laps in this thing, because it's just, you don't even have to think about it. You have the big tires in the back, big tires in the front, and you just go. I mean, I remember going back at SEMA and we started talking about it, and she's like, "Yeah, if you ever want to come film the 918?" I'm like, "What?" Like, that's a once in a lifetime kind of feeling, because there's only 900 something of them. So they're hard to find, and here I am driving one, which is ridiculous. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick little review video. I know I did. And I want to thank Andrew and Elizabeth so much for letting me drive the 918 Spider. It was a fantastic time. With that, make sure to check out all of their social media, Snapchat, Instagram, all of them. It's white noise. I'll put the link in the description. So I will see you guys next time, and take it easy. Have a good one.